So, how you doing? I know it's the last talk. I know you want to go to take some beers and that shit, but be patient. I will try to do this one fast. And we have two options. The talk is nice, and you say, wow, nice talk. I want to take a beer. Or the talk went so bad, and you say, man, that was a piece of shit. I need a beer now. The most about that, two options end with beer, so that's fine. So, I'm Ignacio Navarro. I'm from Córdoba, Argentina. It's kind of far from here. I arrived last week in Stockholm, and I like the city. I like the country. It's nice. That was my first time here. I work like as DevSecOps ethical hacker. And as a fun fact, who no one's care, I love sneakers. So, what will we see today? First of all, a kind of introduction, how I found this web server and that stuff. How was the bypass about the login, and what we can do inside the application. A little bit about LFI and remote command execution, and how using that we can get a remote shell, a reverse shell, and escalation of privilege. And I will show you a little bit how was configured the network, and for then a little conclusion. The disclaimer part. So maybe this talk has some techniques and procedures could be illegal. So I recommend don't do this one at your home, because the purpose of the talk is kind of educational and get new ideas or ways to hack some stuff and also improve our security. So don't be an asshole, please. Don't do this at your home. And if you do that, please report everything what you found to the conference, to the company, or wherever. So now we can start. What is Shoodan? Shoodan is kind of search engine used for device connect to the internet. You can filter that like for IP, for a sub-address, for a port, for company, for whatever you want. They have a lot of filters. That's nice. And also they have an API if you are a developer and you want to improve some script or something. And sometimes when I get bored on the weekend, I open Shoodan and I start to find some IPs close to my country, close to my city, and I try to hack them. But just for reported to the different companies and that. And once I was just chilling, just hanging around, and I found some stuff, some IP close to my city, just when the 80 port opened. And I started to check, okay, this is 80 port, what we can find here is Apache HTTPD. And I found that port was for a ISP company. What is that? It's basically an internet service provider. It's the company who provides internet for different homes or organization like a hospital and that stuff. And I found the login page, just the normal one with user and password. And yeah, we can try to crack them maybe. So I tried different words with the common user and pass, like you can find them in GitHub. But maybe rogue you and that stuff, and that didn't work. So I say, okay, it's nice, they have some security implemented, but maybe for a reason, SQLi injection is still in the top 10 of SOAP. So I try the normal injection like or equal, and that's work. But but that does work, because we are in 2023, so this is a whole vulnerability and that stuff. But for example, in this case, the login form sent call to validate function, and they send two variables, the user and password, and they didn't check anything. You just as they come, they send to another function called a get one. That was one instances from the databases. They didn't use an ORM or something like that. They send the variable 2, and the get one just have the SQLi query and just insert that variables. They didn't check if they are a user, they are another piece of code or something like that. So they inject them and they send it to the databases. And we get login empty or true is true, and password empty or true is true. So we are logging the application. So what we can do now, for example, we can check the network map. We can check the difference. We can show the difference IP, like a public or private. We can show the different contracts about the different people from that city, for example. In this case, this city have like a 2,000 maybe users, 2,300, and just have the name, the address, and the cell phone. It's not a lot of data, but you have some private data, maybe that don't need to be exposed. So, and also you have the public IPs and the network map that give you a kind of idea which cable modes are connected to different tabs or nodes. So that's nice too. But well, also you can do some stuff like the next demo. So here you can I will change my plan. I'm connected to my Wi-Fi in my home. I have like 25 megabytes now. So I run a speed test. I have 24 and a half maybe, or something like that. And now we're going to go to the website. I want to go to my contract. I will change my plan. Educational only stuff. I'm going to go to downgrade to 6 megabytes plans, saving. That was changed so cool. So the modem is restarting now. The process could take like 6 minutes, 7 minutes maybe. But we are not waiting the same screen for 6 minutes. That's fine. Let's have a speed camera, but wait. I don't have any 100% packet loss, so we are disconnected from the Wi-Fi while he is restarting now. Maybe it could be a little bit more fast, I know, but I'm not a filmmaker or something like that. Disconnected. Be patient. So now we are connected again to the Wi-Fi, the same one. The router already restarted. They changed the different plan and that stuff, but I will show you later. I do another speed test, and I have 6 megabytes. Yeah, 5.5. So the plan was changed correctly. So now we can do that for get a downgrade or an upgrade, whatever we want for us router or for another router, like another person maybe. But that was the idea. And now we have that access, but just that one. We can do another more funny stuff. So what is local file inclusion? As the name says, like allows to attacker to get another file that's supposed to be, we are not access to that one, but we have that. That occurred because the developers or that staff didn't validate the user input. So for example, in this case, we are calling to login.php, but if we move a little bit more folder again, backwards, we can get another file. And remote command execution is kind of similar, but we can execute some commands on the remote machine, and that happened with the same stuff because they didn't validate properly the user input. So in this case, we're going to use well, this is one example. The Meisterwork.pp have a local file inclusion vulnerability, and we can check the etc user, the etc host. So we can show that file is maybe it's DNS for the routing and for the booting and that stuff. But also we can show more important files, for example, like a etc password, and we can get different users and that. So that can be so helpful if we want to do some escalation of privilege and that. But doesn't matter. In this case, we're going to use the logs files. We know the service is running in Apache and also with PHP. By default, Apache saves the logs in that files. I tried with the first two ones, and that didn't work. But in the tier one that works, the Apache choose access.log, and we get the IP, the timestamp, the method, and the path. It's not a lot of information, but that could be work because it's a PHP server. What we can do here. So the application is written in PHP, so everything PHP code that will be executed by the application. In this case, we will use pass-through function. It's kind of similar to exec, but that executes a function from the remote machine. So we create with Netcat a remote connection in the port ID, just a GET request and the path will be the the PHP script with pass-through. It's just that get the value for query params with TMD, and that will work. That responds to us not found page. That's fine because that didn't exist. But that's fine for us because we just need that log. So using that one, we can do, for example, one ls, and we can get the different files in that folder. In this case, the different user in the home folder. But using that one, we can get another more interesting data. For example, if we want to check the config.php, we have in the first line all the different data about the databases. In this case, we have the user, the password, the database names, and that. And also the password is in the plain text. So if we search a little bit, we can find the phpMyAdmin over there. And the user and password, we have that one here. So, and also it's the root user. It's not a normal one or just for the application. We log it in over there, and we have access to every the databases, like for a Hacktivity, and also the database for the web application. We have the users, and also user in plain text too. A lot of misconfiguration. We can change the password. We can do whatever we want with that one. But yeah, we can do that one with that shit. So we already have access to the system, but we need to relog in again because the session ID expired after a certain time. So also, we didn't have a root access, so you just have the Nginx user, and we didn't have a persistence. So now we can implement like a reversal. I don't want to explain what is reversal, but it's like when the target machine connects to us because we can avoid some firewalls and that stuff. In this case, I use just a normal one, netcat for listening the port, and bash console for start the connection. I don't know if here, but in Argentina, we cannot forward OS port to the public IP. You have to pay or do some weird shit. But in this case, I use ngroot. I saw some speakers use ngroot too. It's kind of one tool that help to us to export some port to the public web. And this gives to us the new address and the new port. So in this case, I choose TCP and the port 8294. So I replace that values in the bash command. I encode that in base64 in URL encode because just to avoid some issues in the web application. So we execute that one, and we get the shell now. So that's fine. But we still have with the Apache permission, so we cannot modify anything. We just have the permission from the web application. So now it's time to try to some privilege escalation and that. We have a lot of ways to do that. But like checking different files, check SSH file for that one, check the history, check the set UID. There is two links. The first one is about the privilege escalation in Linux, and the second one is about the set UID privilege escalation. That's nice if you want to read after this one. But sometimes it's more easy than that. In this case, I run a sudo l, and I get that one. Root not password all, and that's mean root. We can run like root users without authentication, all commands. So what does that mean? If we just run sudo su with access like a root, another misconfiguration. So now we are rooting the system, but we still need some persistence. What is persistence? Is the way for maintaining the access in the target system. And in this case, I use Weebly. It's kind of open source web shell for post-exploitation uses, and that's nice. It's so easy for use too. You just need Weebly generate the password that you want to have the reversal and the name of the file, and then you have to put them in the server. So I put this one in the server, but we need a folder to camouflage them because we cannot put them in the root directory like, yeah, this is our shell.php. So I found this folder called test in the web server. And the test folder have a lot of scripts in PHP, telnet, for connecting from PHP to telnet. And we have test2.php, test3.php. And I say, hey, if we create test5.php, maybe doesn't matter, right? So I encode that in base64 just for more easy the transporting this one to the target machine. So I decode that one, and yeah, we have the test5.php, but also the file have the different permission, have different timestamp, have different owner and that. So I run chmod for say the same permissions, like all the files in that directory. I set touch_r for have the same timestamp for all the directory. And also I change the owner for FTP user, like the same directory. And we move from this one to that one. And I think it's fine. Unless you're searching deep thoroughly in that sheet, I think that's fine. So now we have persistence. We have root access in that one. So which one is the next step? Is try to check what is inside the system. We know it's a PHP server who manages all the different modems and cable modems. We also know they have access to all the different modem, and they have access to the configuration files. So I searched a little bit, and I found all the different binary files about the different plans for the 6 megas, 25 megas, and that megabytes. And also, if you open that binary files, you can find the user and the password for the configuration panel, like for a web or the telnet one. And also, you can find, I found a little bit more configuration files, and you have all the modems are in the same network like this machine. So they are sharing the same private network, and also you have the IP, the private IP, the MAC address, and which plan are they using. And for in the public stuff, I don't know here, but in Argentina, if you want to have some public IP, you have to buy them. It's like a different contract, and they match the private MAC address with the public IP. And you say, okay, I want to check some random private IP to check if that is a real IP, is that a real cable modem. I run an nmap over there. I found the port 80 open, and normally you say, yeah, the port 80 maybe could be a cable modem, but you cannot get access like in your web browser because that is in your session. So in this case, I do some port forwarding with SSH. I create another nGroup session, and I forwarded the port from the private LAN, and also the port 80, because that was the port what was working the cable modem. So now, after doing that shit, now in my computer I have access to the web page, and also because we have the binary files, if they didn't change or something like that, we have the access to the management of the entire cable modem. But that's nice. But also I say, okay, that's fine, but I want to search a little bit more. In the configuration PHP file that I found in the first slides, also I found some DHCP commands, and I say, okay, maybe this one could be a good hint for this one. But what is DHCP? Basically, it's the network manager to set the different IP inside the network for the devices, and DHCPD is basically the program who do that shit, help us to do that. And I open the configuration file, and we have different stuff like a TCP server, log server, time server, and DNS. All of that are pointing to the 10.10.05, but that is another deal. What is DNS? It's basically the stuff who turn the domains into IP address. It's kind of databases maybe or something like that, to take the different address and turn to different public IP. But all of them are pointing to 10.10.05, but who is 10.10.05? I check my IP, and I am 10.10.05. So what we have here? Basically, we can manage the different modems from the homes, the companies, the different organizations, and that We are also the DHCPD server, and we are also the DNS server. And for example, if you want to do we're going to listen the network a little bit to check what we can find over there. I just run like a TCP dump command with some random IP. And in this case, we can find the guy was watching in Google. He was in Netflix. And in librefutboltv.com. In Argentina, some matches of football are not free. You have to pay them. But always there are some helpful people in the internet can give you free. That's kind of illegal too, but that's fine. I start searching a little bit more in the network. We was 10.10.05, and in 10.10.06 I found this computer, this stuff, and had a lot of open ports. But the most interesting one could be the telnet, maybe. So I tried to connect to them, and I found this one. CASA C3200. And I say, OK, that's nice. But what is CASA, that stuff? I search, it's like a DOCSIS 3.0 CMTS. And I say, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But what is CMTS? I don't have any idea what is CMTS. Because I just do some pen testing in some web application, and that's it. No more like a CMTS. I don't know. It's basically the piece of equipment. It's like in the front of the company who distribute the different internet for the different cable modems and that stuff. And we have access to that one because the port is open, but they need a password and user. I was looking in the internet just to check in if they have something, and I found the configuration guide for the CMTS. And that says something like, OK, default user is root, and the password is CASA. But I say, hey, this is a company. Maybe they'll change everything. I was begging you for the people, please change everything. But I tried to CASA, and that's work. But after that, I say, OK, I read a little bit more the next pages. And they say, OK, but if you want to do something interesting, you have to do the privilege mode enable. But the default password is CASA again. And I say, please. You remember the folder test with a few scripts and that stuff? So I did a little grep over there. There is the enable command could be ANETU. And the part in red is the password. The first one was CASA, but the another one was a new one. And that was nice. But they hard-coded in the different scripts, so now we have access. What we can do inside the CMTS? Well, first of all, we have access to the different private IP. We can change the plan and that. The same stuff like everything, like before. But what if we can do some man-in-the-middle attack or something like that, but over HTTPS? Maybe we can get this message. Like you need a certificate or something like that. But I read a little bit more the manual guide, and I found this one, the possibility who can add new CA certificate to the CMTS, and the user never know what happened over there because it's in the CMTS level, so they never get access to that one. And we can do a man in the middle for all the different devices connected to that one. Obviously, I don't do that because that's kind of dangerous. And also, I'm stupid, but not so much. And I want to come back to home. So I save a life, my own, and I don't want to be in jail now. So what we can do inside that computer? We can change the contract, get a downgrade, upgrade. With a small change, we can perform a man-in-the-middle attack. We can change the DNS, and we can do DNS poisoning because we are the DNS server. We are going to add our own CA certificates for do some attack more interesting shit. And after that, I say, OK, that's fine. It's just in my city. Doesn't matter. But I search a little bit more, And the same system was implemented in 25 different cities in the same state. I'm not so well with maths, but it's kind of 75K modems, like homes, hospital, different organizations, and that. So I think it's kind of a lot of information and data. Like a conclusion, I report this one several times. I thought this one in January maybe or something like that. So I report a few times and no one answered to me, give me a stand, hey, okay, we're gonna fix this one. I know it's a kind of big deal and that. So maybe this one is the form to report this one. For the new people, I'm new too, but for the new people, you don't need a 0 days for exploit some important system because you just need to follow the code and try to improve on your way. And that's nice because we are in 2023 and we still have some SQLi injections. So for the companies, DevSecOps culture could help a lot because we can implement that shit and we can think the security from the beginning, and we don't have to wait until the staff are in production to fix that stuff. Security education and training for every people, like from a company or from outside the company, we can avoid a lot of different problems with that one. And the last one, Billy's shit than yesterday. We know the security. We know security is not a shit that like you want to go to the company, turn a button, and the security is in every places. We know it's kind of process. But I think if you do something, could be help to more than security than yesterday, that we are good starting. And that's all. So we can drink some beers now. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Woo! Nice.
That was great. Do we have any questions from the crowd?
Don't be shy. Come on. One.
Anyone?
No, not anyone. Everyone is so excited to get some beer. Yeah, good. Perfect.
Who had their hand up? Here you go.
Perfect.
Thanks for the talk. One question. Could you exploit the same server from inside, from your cable modem to the...
No, I born in that city, but I live in another one now. But all of that was in the public IP, so I just exploit the web server that was public. But if you want to exploit from the inside, maybe it could be the same because from the inside you cannot get access to the web server. You need to get access from the outside, so that's fine. Thank you.
Anyone else? Are you excited to get some dinner, beer, party, quiz?
All right. Let's get to that soon, but before we do, please join me again in thanking Ignacio. Thank you.